Well, if we're gonna find any ghosts, we better split up.
You're listening to Never Split Up, a horror movie podcast.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Never Split Up podcast. My name's Nolan, along with Anthony, and today is episode 66. We are covering Silent Night, Deadly Night, released in 1984. How's it going, Anthony? We are almost approaching Christmas, a couple weeks as of this recording. What's going on? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. These are my kind of Christmas movies, so I'm excited to talk about some Deadly Night.
Yes, yeah, me too. We were just saying how we kind of haven't really gotten into the swing of things with Christmas yet, watching any Christmas movies, but this is a hell of a movie to start with for the year. So, yeah, I'm excited for this one. This is kind of a little tradition. We try to do at least one or two Christmas movies every Christmas season. This is going to be our only, true Christmas movie.
Yeah.
We're going to do a lot of, winter-themed movies, I think, throughout this winter, but in terms of just, ho-ho Christmas, this is it. So I'm excited to talk this one. Do you have anything you wanted to cover before we get into this episode? I know we ran a poll recently, and I know you want to talk about some of our previous episodes and hype them up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So, guys, I finally ran the poll for our Thanksgiving episode. That was a fun one that released around Thanksgiving, and Nolan came out on top for that poll, so thank you guys for voting. And we just dropped, last week we dropped our The Fog episode, and we're getting some good feedback in response to that. So check that one out. It's actually funny. The day it released around here, it was a nice foggy morning in Jersey, a foggy rainy morning. So I thought that was cool. If that's when the episode dropped. So yeah, check that one out.
Yeah.
I know. So yeah, check that episode out. Always good to talk about Carpenter. And yeah, I'm just excited to talk about another slasher movie now. So keep with this, guys. We got some fun stuff planned.
Yeah, the universe definitely lined up for us with that, at least in the Northeast. When I was editing the episode for The Fog a couple days ago, it was it was nighttime and it was a cool breezy night, and I edit in my basement is where my setup is, and I have a basement window to my right, and it was the leaves were blowing and it was howling and it was foggy outside, so it was completely setting the mood for me. So that was pretty cool. And then I woke up the next morning, and then we had that huge fog roll in. I was on my way to work. I was like, oh, this is perfect.
We couldn't have timed that one better for us specifically.
Right, for us, yeah. Yeah, definitely check that out. We've gotten a lot of listeners already on that podcast. We just released it today as of this recording. So thank you everyone who's listened. And if you haven't checked it out yet, I think that was a good episode. I mean, it's John Carpenter, so it's going to get a good turnout no matter what. I'm excited to cover more of his stuff. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad I won the poll. I haven't won one in a while, so thanks everyone for voting on the poll. We'll get into our Never Split Up moments after this review, but for now, let's talk some Christmas horror. Let's talk some Christmas slashers. Silent Night, Deadly Night. Let's get into it. You can cover the synopsis and cast and all that if you want.
All right, guys, so let me give you the IMDb synopsis. Little Billy witnesses his parents getting killed by Santa after being warned by his senile grandpa that Santa punishes those who are naughty. Now Billy is 18 and out of the orphanage, and he has just become Santa himself. It was directed by Charles E. Sellier Jr., and it stars Robert Brian Wilson as Billy. He's obviously the main lead. Then we have a shit ton of Linnea Quigley. She is a horror staple of 80s horror. She is in endless slasher and horror movies, so she has a nice little set piece in this movie. And then we just have a bunch of little supporting characters. Again, there's no one really well known besides Linnea Quigley in this movie, but yeah, this was a big deal when it came out. Came out in 1984, and because people just like controversy, I guess parents were up in arms because it featured a killer Santa Claus, which is hilarious to me. And it literally got so much backlash that it was pulled from theaters after a week of release. So this one had like a 1 week exclusive run in theaters, and they pulled it, and it actually made. It was made for $750,000, and just from the opening week alone, back in 1984, it made 2.5 million.
Wow.
It was like competing with Nightmare on Elm Street, and like it probably would have competed well with it if it was released in that as many theaters.
Yeah.
So they were saying that if it like played in theaters, it would have grossed like over 20 million, so it would have been like a huge, huge success. But it made $2.5 million in a week on a $750,000 budget, and that just always baffles me when like I hear stories about that from the past. It's like, what the hell? Like, that's wild to me. But it gained a huge cult following after that in the years, obviously. Now it's a cult classic. It spawned like, I think it spawned like 4 sequels, and there's a loose remake that came out in 2012 that I really like. I'll have to cover that one day. And actually, Cineverse, the production company behind the Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3, is going to be remaking this movie for a Christmas release in 2025. So we'll have to cover the new one next year for sure. And I meant to ask you before we watched it. I'm a broken record, but I'm so thankful for physical media because I have the Scream Factory Blu-ray, and this movie has 6 minutes of footage that was cut for the theatrical release to prevent an X rating, and they found it in the TriStar vault, and they included it. It looks really bad and grainy, like it actually looks like a Grindhouse movie, but they included it in the Scream Factory Blu-ray. So I got to watch it with all the actual bloody, over-the-top nonsense kills. So I got to fully experience the crazy cheesiness of Silent Night, Deadly Night. So I wish I forgot about it when I popped it in today. I'm like, fuck, I should have given him my Blu-ray so you could fully experience it because the kills are awesome in the uncut version, and it just makes it the movie it's supposed to be.
That's cool. Is it extra kills, or is it like the kills that are already there?
They're extended, and
Okay.
you actually see them. So. Like,
Yeah.
they're bloody good set pieces. Because every time it goes to the grainy footage, I'm like, fuck, he missed this part. And it's such a bloody blast.
So what
but,
kills
yeah.
in particular do you see? Because you kind of see a decent amount in the regular version.
So,
Which
I mean,
kills in
there's...
particular? Do you know the difference? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they cut in the theatrical version, but, like, even for Linnea Quigley's death, the topless girl on the pool table, like, you see her go through the antlers, and you see them poke through her chest, and you see the blood dripping and everything.
Yeah, I saw
and,
that. That was in there.
But was it, like, fully...
Yeah,
like,
you
it was
see it
pretty-
like come through her
yeah.
skin. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the scene in the store, like the Christmas store, the whatever seasonal store, all those kills are like fleshed out and super bloody and violent.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it could be like tits and ass, as like shown too in the grainy footage, more of that. But
Yeah.
it gets pretty like fun and over the top when you get to see the extended kills. So I'm like, fuck, I forgot about that.
That's cool. It kind of takes it into, like you said, it feels like it might take it into kind of that grindhousey feel,
It
because
does.
the
for sure.
regular version that I watch, it doesn't feel tame, but it's also not extended.
Exactly.
It feels like it's right in that sweet spot of like 80s slashers where it shows a lot, but it doesn't show too much to what we're kind of like expecting nowadays, like with the Terrifier movies and stuff. So
Exactly.
it sounds like it was kind of in that realm, but they had to cut it
It
back
is.
and just make it like every other slasher, which, yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate anytime you have to,
Yeah.
you know,
I hate
cut stuff
censorship.
down.
You know, I hate censorship.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just like a few extra character beats and like more extended gory shots. It's like 6 minutes of that, but it's worth it in my opinion because it makes the movie what it
Yeah.
is. I'm wearing my Silent Night, Deadly Night shirt
Nice.
for this recording. If
There you
anyone
go.
can see.
That's cool, actually. I like that a lot, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't love that synopsis that you read. That kind of gives away.
I know. I don't
like,
either.
way too
Well,
much.
yeah. I
it's-
mean, once the opening scene happens, you kind of know where this is going.
yeah. No, I just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Even like, yeah, I like the Wikipedia one better. It's a little quicker
let me
on
go to
Google. It just says orphan raised by nuns grows up to be a killer toy store
Okay.
Santa. That's it. That's all you need. Like, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean this movie. This is definitely an '80s slasher throwback to the grindhouse horror movie.
Yeah.
And, you know, we appreciate that
Yeah.
on this podcast.
All right, cool, yeah. Let's dive right in. Do you want me to go first? Do you want to go first? Just like, I guess we'll do overall thoughts and whether or not we recommend the movie.
Yeah, you want to go first? I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this movie, so I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll go first. I really like this movie. It's not like in my upper echelon of Christmas horror, but it's right there and it holds its own. Every time I watch it, I have a fun time. I really think there are some things that on the surface, it's a fun movie, but when you delve a little deeper, it does have layers to it that I appreciate.
Mhm.
And it is a little unconventional in its storytelling, which I like. You know me, I'm a villain guy, so
Right.
the fact that the villain is front and center in this movie and is the main kind of protagonist is great. I love not necessarily the pacing, but like, again, just the story structure, how pretty much first of all, this is a cool hour and 20-minute movie. I mean, it's listed at an
That's
hour and
what we
25, but with credits and stuff, it's more like 80 minutes. And
Yeah.
I love that. It just gets right to the punch. I love that the first half of the movie is kind of setting up our killer, and it really dives into his psyche and what I think this movie could really be called Making a Murderer. I mean, instead of Silent and Deadly Night, because that's what the first half of the movie is. But I love that the second half of the movie is just one big payoff. I mean, you're waiting for it to happen, and it just, once you get there, you're just got a smile on your face. You're like, go Billy, go, you know? It's great. But yeah, no, this is a fun time. I don't think it's, like I said, I don't think it's perfect. There are some
Right.
gripes I have with it. I wish it leaned even more into the holiday. I know it leans into Santa Claus a lot, but I feel like this movie isn't open enough. Whenever I watch this movie, I feel like it's just like big set pieces stitched together, and there isn't anything there's no connectivity of like the town or any kind of town or sense of community. I mean, you have these big set pieces, and it feels very closed off, if that makes sense. It's not very open, and I think that because it's like that, maybe it doesn't have the theming like other Christmas movies have, but it's there. I mean, it's enough. I mean, you have the toy store is one of the main set pieces, and you obviously Santa Claus, and like you said, the controversy. I didn't know about that controversy. I don't know too much about the history of this movie, so that's pretty interesting to hear. So thanks for that little fact. That's crazy because it's rated R. I mean, it's a rated R slasher. Why the fuck do parents
Parents are
care?
so lame.
Yeah, I guess that's the Keep Christ in Christmas crowd, I guess. They just like to get offended about everything, I guess. But yeah. Yeah, no, I really like this movie. I think if you are a fan of 80s slashers and you like a good holiday themed movie, you can't go wrong with Silent Night, Deadly Night. Especially if you haven't seen this one yet, definitely check it out. It's a recommend from me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I pretty much agree with every sentiment you just said. It's not like my top tier Christmas movies. We've covered a lot of them already. Those are top tier for me. But this is a bloody blast, and I do watch it every year because there's just something about 80s slashers and Christmas. It's like you're gonna get me. I love that our main killer, the actor Robert Brian Wilson, he really goes to be like kooky. He goes over the top, and he's game for the camp. And it's just funny seeing him go for it because you have this like hunky, like good looking dude who just goes all full creepy, and it just cracks me up every time. I think that's part of the charm too. It's like this pretty much would be like main lead, like Final Boy
All-American boy,
character.
yeah.
Is the killer, and he goes for it, and he does the weird creepy face, but it's like he's like, all right, he's the typical hot dude, but he's going for it. So I think that's like adds to it. It's funny. I will say my gripe with it, I think you said it pretty well. Like, it's not pacing because it's paceful, but I would say it's structure. It's the way it's structured a little bit. Like you said, like the way it's stitched together could have been handled a little bit better in the editing room, or even the story a little more fleshed out. But other than that, it's a good time. Again, it's a good time, but it's not like top tier or anything. It's not great, but it's for what it is and for what they set out to do. I think it's a great time. I love the title drop. It's taking advantage of the Christmas theme and Santa Claus. It could have gone more intense with some, I don't know, Christmas theme set pieces. But again, the toy store I love. The other scene in the uncut version, we'll get to it, but there's a scene towards the end when there's kids going down a sled. And in the uncut version, you see like a kid going down the mountain on a sled, and this head's chopped off, and you see the whole thing, and you just see the headless dude just like going down a mountain, and it cracks me up every time. It's so much fun.
Yeah, no, I saw that too, so I don't know. Maybe we saw the same version. I don't know.
Hopefully, because it's like there's like blood shooting out of the dude's like, and he's just going down the whole time.
Yeah, it wasn't like maybe that was it. It wasn't excessively gory, but you don't see his head get cut off, but you see his head coming, or you see his headless body coming down
Okay.
the mountain. You definitely see that, and then the head rolls
Okay.
afterwards.
It's probably just more graphic and it's probably
I mean, 6 minutes isn't a lot, especially spread over a movie. So
Yeah.
it probably is just those extra little touches that they had to cancel out.
But yeah, I have a great time with this movie. Like I said, I watch it every year. It's not gonna like wow you, but if you're like going into it knowing it's a low budget 80s Christmas slasher, I don't see how you're not gonna have a good time with some beers. Have some beers in you and watch
Yes.
it. It's a good time. It's very festive. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the recommend section, quote unquote. So if you haven't seen this movie, it's a recommend if you have, but if you haven't, it's definitely a recommend because I saw this for the first time when I was an adult. I don't think I saw this as a kid. And I remember vividly seeing this for the first time, and like, I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? Because the structure is so unorthodox. I mean, you have, and we'll get into it, obviously, but spoilers ahead again. But you have the parents dying in the beginning. Like, I was not expecting that.
So it goes
I was
there,
like,
too.
holy shit, it goes there.
Yeah.
And there are a couple moments in this movie where I was sitting there like, holy shit, like, this is pretty cool that they kind of did this in this way. You know, it was a little unconventional the way they did some things. So yeah, I definitely recommend it for people who haven't seen it.
Yeah, I agree with you with that because it is the campy, cheesy slash movie you expect from a movie called Silent Night, Deadly Night, and its Christmas theme, but it also has those like those extra grimy, sleazy moments that add to the grindhouse vibe as well. So it has that like trashy, like this is mean too, kind of like it's a mean movie at the same time as being campy.
And you know what I love about it too is that it has those mean moments. I mean, it has the nudity and the sex that all 80s slashers has, but it's incorporated so well from the script, and the script explains it, and it explains why, you know, we see all this sex. I mean, it's not just like some nameless, mindless killer who's killing teens having sex, you know, a la Jason. There's actually a reason behind it, so I think that was pretty clever the way they kind of incorporated, like, we got to get sex scenes in here, so we might as well build the script where it kind of...
We want sex.
Yeah, we kind of explain it in a way.
It's not gratuitous just to be gratuitous. It goes back to his... I mean, it's funny. It's a slasher. Yeah. It's a cheesy slasher movie about mental illness, if you really think about it. But it's like about trauma and his mental illness, but they get the TNA in there, but they in their head, they're like, oh, he's flashing back to his mom every time, being like, oh, naughty, punish, like, you know, because so it's like, and it's cheesy, but at the same time, they're saying something.
I mean, we're saying gratuitous. It's just a lot of like boobies and stuff, but
you
do have like the sexual assault aspect and stuff. So
that's what I'm saying.
Kind of like a trigger warning there for
it's almost you have a repeat again in the toy store, almost like even worse with the. I mean, it's bad in the beginning, but that guy's a fucking scumbag.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that guy. I have thoughts on that guy.
That's forceful. Yeah, so guys, if you're, I mean, you can watch it, but if you are sensitive to like sexual assault, like you're gonna have to look away a couple times because it does get a little sleazy and mean. And
but they do get it. The characters do get it in the end, so there is.
And I cheer every time.
All right, let's start right at the top. I know you love a great title card. This is one of the cooler title cards. I mean, it kind of throws you right into that title.
And you have like the Christmas the jingles and oh my god, I love a good title drop, and this one kills it every time. It gets me in the mood for this. I'm like, yes, let's go.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then you cut right from that to the classic way to open up a movie with the family in the car, the all-American family kind of driving to visit
Grandpa.
Yeah. Yeah, you have the baby in the front seat, which I cringe every time. The baby's being held.
Ricky the baby.
Seat, yeah. Like, what the fuck? How do people survive back then, man? Nowadays, they don't even let you leave the hospital unless you like have the proper car seat and everything, so... It's just funny, like the safety standards have come so far.
It was like, go with it. Back now it's like you have to do X, Y, Z and you're still doing something wrong, but it's funny. I mean, I love how it opens with like, and you're in a mental institution. It's just the way it handles like the grandpa being crazy. It's smart. It's funny to me because he's like talking to Billy, but then when everyone else is around, he's silent and mute. So he's going senile. So, but he's kooky though. He's crazy. So the way that the 80s handled mental illness cracks me up every time. It's ridiculous, but it's funny. But I think it set the mood with what the tone you're gonna get when the grandpa's telling Billy, you're naughty, you're gonna get punished by Santa. I like that a lot. And then it leads to obviously, when they're on the way back home, that opening set piece. If you haven't seen this movie, it goes there for this opening set piece.
Yeah, it wastes no time setting up Billy as our killer. I mean, there are things that happen in his life throughout his entire childhood,
Right.
circumstances and things, and this is just the first example with his grandpa kind of warning him of Santa Claus. I mean, it was obviously, I don't think it was like, I think it was just a crazy old man who just said this story, and then it was a coincidence that it happened on the same night. But that's
Right.
the type of things that, can drive a kid to, have this trauma. And I think they, like I said, they waste no time. I want to give a quick shout out because everyone gives props to, I don't know the guy's name, the grandfather, and his iconic lines. You better run for your life, boy. But I want to give
Will
props
Hare, Will Hare
to,
is his
yes, the mother who,
Oh, she's good.
she has a line which kind of struck me that when I watched this back. I was like, that was kind of creepy. So I wanted to give her props. She says, don't worry, Grandpa's not going to hurt you. And the way she says it, and you just, the grandpa sitting there, you get like those
It's like a
creepy
wink.
vibes. All those
Yeah,
things.
it's like a wink,
oh,
wink.
Man, like,
He won't
what
hurt
the
you,
hell?
wink.
Yeah.
Her name's Tara Buckman, by the way, if you want to give her a shout out.
Yes.
She does well in her like very limited screen time.
Yeah. She
I
does.
just like how it instills in Billy after that conversation. They go back in the car like, oh, if you're not good, Santa's. He's like, I don't want Santa to come. I don't want Santa
Yeah.
to come. So it's like a fun play on it after that with how Santa could be evil and he's scared of Santa. So it's funny because Santa comes a couple minutes later. A criminal dressed up as Santa comes, and that fucker, that sleazy criminal. Ugh.
I know. Yeah.
So, yes,
this is the big moment where, if
This
you
is
haven't
the big
seen this
moment.
movie
This is-
before, it kind of throws everything up on its end.
Right.
The parents get it, they die. First of all, I want to say these parents have no survival instincts. I mean,
Oh my god, it's so bad.
oh, it's bad. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't care if you're dressed as freaking Jesus
pulling
Christ.
over.
I'm not pulling over. I have a baby in a car and another 6-year-old son. Like, it's the middle of the night. I don't know what he was thinking. I know it was the 80s. People were more trusting and stuff, but
Like,
dude,
he's
like,
dressed
you
up as
got to
Santa,
put your
so-
family first, man.
I
Like, that
know.
was, so bad. And the kid, obviously, Billy was like, keep going.
I know. He's
Oh.
like, no, don't stop for Santa.
He's like, maybe you're gonna get your wish tonight, Billy. You're gonna see Santa after all. And Billy's like, fuck
And he's
that.
like, no.
Yeah.
But I think just from the part when he like tries to rob the guy and he kills him in the liquor store, that was well done. And then you're like, oh, of course he's gonna have to get a ride, and he tries to carjack them. Ugh. And then the poor family. I like how at first the dad he goes into reverse. I'm like, oh, okay. But the guy shoots him through the windshield,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, he's fucked. I'm like, oh no. And then the mom, I'm like, oh. So the mom, I'm happy that like he attempts. Clearly, he rips her shirt off. Well, Billy runs. He runs to like the bushes,
Yeah.
and he attempts to like he rips the mom's shirt off, and you can tell obviously he wants to like sexually assault her, but he ends up just slitting her throat, because she hits him. And then I really like how before it cuts to black, it's really creepy that like the criminal dressed up as Santa, he's like taunting Billy from the streets. I'm like, that was really done. That was pretty eerie and creepy.
Yeah.
And that would be something that would obviously stay in his psyche forever, which will lead him to, growing up, having those growing pains and what he ends up being. So I thought that was really cool the way they taunted him. That was creepy.
Yeah. No. I
And then
agree.
always like, oh my god, no, the baby is left alone. Like Billy didn't tell. I'm like, oh no, what about the baby? So it was cool. I thought it was a good opening scene to get it started.
Yeah, and then we just cut. It kind of doesn't explain anything. We cut to, I believe, a couple years later, and
It was like 1974, like 4 years later.
yeah,
or something
4
like
years
that.
later or something. So we don't even know how they got rescued or
Right.
anything. We just knew it was just this traumatic experience, and now they're in an orphanage. St.
Oh,
Mary's
fucking Mother
Orphanage.
Superior,
Mother
man.
Superior. We get introduced
that
to our
fucking
main
bitch.
villain of the movie. Mother
She
Superior.
drives me crazy.
Yes. And the trauma just, doesn't stop. I mean, not only, he's got to deal with this traumatic event, but now he has this Mother Superior who is just making it 10 times worse for him and doesn't understand. And kudos to the other sister, I forget her name, Margaret, yes.
Sister Margaret.
Who understands that, like, no, this kid needs some, like, actual, like, help, not, like, from us. Like, we're in over our head with this kid. And Mother Superior is just, I hate to say it, like, about a nun. I know she plays a cat, but she's such a bitch, man. I mean, the way she treats Sister Margaret, I'm like,
Oh, she's
she's
so
like, I
mean
don't
to
care about your
everybody.
opinion and stuff. It's like, oh my God. Why do you put up with that? Come on, girl.
I would fucking have slapped that bitch so many times. Like, get the hell out of here. But I'm starting to say that this script is smart in it, but it's smart because not only does Billy have that, obviously the trauma of his parents' death and Santa, so that's already like Santa's bad, but Mother Superior is teaching him that when you misbehave, like punishment's a good thing. So when he does grow up and starts killing people before he does, he's like, punish? No. So like that aspect of a Mother Superior too is also feeding into what he becomes. So I thought that was very clever, that it's not just the typical, it was the trauma of my parents dying. No, it's like what the environment he grew up in as well after that. So I thought that was clever.
Oh, definitely, for sure. Like I said, he gets these little, you get these little pieces of what forms his psyche as an 18-year-old when he starts his killing spree. And Mother Superior, I mean, I think she is 80-90% responsible for what he is when he's an adult. I mean, obviously the traumatic experience, but people go through that all the time, you know?
Right.
So it's the fact that he had to deal with that abuse, which again, you don't even really see. So again, he gets, what you're really talking about is what you're alluding to. Hey, Belle.
Oh.
Hey, what's up, girl?
She's like, I want to talk Christmas.
Yeah. What's up? All right. As I was saying, he sees the two people having sex. That's what kind of you were alluding to, and she kind of disciplines him and says, you know, that's a bad thing, and so he's associating that. And then when that happens, he has the flashbacks to his mom and stuff. So it's all just repressed memories. But yeah, I like how they kind of set that up to where it wasn't just this one event; it was this repeated abuse as he was a kid. And then after that whole sequence, it cuts again. We don't see him until he's 18 years old. And
18.
It's 10 years later, and we just assume the last thing we see is Mother Superior walking in after he punches Santa, and you know she's about to freaking get the belt and just go to town on him. And that's the last thing we see, and it's like, oh man.
Irresponsible to have Santa come visit when you know this boy's trauma was like someone dressed up as Santa coming to kill his parents. Like, remove him from that situation. But I like what you said about when he was little, when he was in the orphanage and he saw the couple, like the other teenagers, you know, typical teenagers having sex, and then Mother Superior came and whipped them and beat them. It's almost like Billy couldn't differentiate like what sexual assault's bad versus Mother Superior made him out to be like sex is, but consensual sex is bad too. So no matter what, you should be punished if you're doing that activity.
Yeah.
So she fucked with his head.
Yeah, for sure. She left him with that. And then, again, imagination is sometimes more effective because we get the 10-year time jump, and you can only imagine the abuse he faced because he wasn't getting any better. He was just going to get more and more worse, and especially around the Christmas time. So now by the time we get to 1984 and he's 18, you see him, like you said, he's like this all-American, good-looking dude. You know, he's ripped, but you know that, you know, something's going on. He's got something going on, yeah.
And again, just a shout out to Sister Margaret. She supports him, like, leaving the orphanage, and like she's happy that she's helping him get that job there. She's like wants him to succeed. So it's only, I just wish that she had more of a backbone.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we have to have a movie, but if she had a backbone all those years, she could have probably helped not even just Billy, but so many other kids that Mother Superior probably fucked up for life, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then maybe also kind of warn the shop owner, the toy shop owner.
Yeah, just give them a heads up. Hey, this dude has some shit going on upstairs.
Yeah, especially because it's a toy store, so it's like, hey, around Christmas time, just be a little careful with him, you know.
And they make him literally dress up as Santa.
Yeah, that was
so poorly planned, but all right.
Yeah, she calls.
But yeah, like you said,
realizes she fucked up. She's like,
oh fuck. She's like, I gotta get over there. She's a little too late, honey. But yeah, it's funny because you see, like you said, he's like the all-American boy. He's like obviously developing a crush on the hot coworker Pamela. Like you think it's like, you know, he made it, he succeeded, but then it's like,
the greatest montage ever when he gets hired.
The sex store. Montage, like the sexual thoughts.
Oh. No, when he gets hired and he's like the model.
Like helping, like
he's helping everyone, and he's lifting the little girl up, and he's getting kisses from everyone. It's got the cheesy song,
the
playing.
Cheesy tune like to it. Yeah, of course.
Typical 80s sitcom,
of course,
intro.
But he's also having like sexual thoughts about this woman Pamela, but obviously because of his trauma with his parents and the trauma with Mother Superior, the visions like he's having are warped by the visions of his parents' murder and all of his trauma and all. So that's all intertwined there. So, you know, when Pamela gets up to something on Christmas Eve, it doesn't go too well. Actually, she doesn't get up to anything. She's almost forced to do something. But yeah, Christmas Eve comes and the shenanigans are about to arrive. So I do like how it, like, once he's an adult, it, like, gets to business.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much right after that montage, it's like, all right, it's Christmas Eve, we're going.
Well, again, we get the montage, but then we get, like, I love how they kind of build it up. Because you know something's happening. You know something's going to happen. Especially when you get to him being Santa Claus. And they have the holiday party, and he gives him a drink. So he's got, like, a drink in his system now. And then you have the owner is like giving him the pep talk, and he's like, you know what Santa does every year, you know? And it's, again, it's
like,
it's on the surface, you know,
yes,
harmless, but because we know his trauma, he's like, you better get started, you know, you better go get to work. And it's like, oh no, here we go.
Oh, he's gonna get to work.
Yeah.
He's gonna get to work, all right. Also the woman who works in the store, the older woman,
Yes.
not the older woman, but the one she is in the opening scene of Halloween 4,
Oh, okay.
I realize. She's the one who's part of transporting Michael. She gets killed in the ambulance. I'm like, oh my god, I know that face. So I was like, oh, finally clicked. Just a little funny.
That's cool. Yeah.
A little bit of trivia there.
Yeah, it's cool. I also, the little scene where he's, with the little girl sitting on his lap, and she's being bad, and he's like, Santa doesn't, you know, give toys to naughty girls. He punishes them
Be
severely.
naughty. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're all like, oh, he's so good
too.
to kids. It's like, oh my god.
He just has that stone cold face with a little girl.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that's great. But no, can we talk about this next kill sequence with his coworkers? First of all, I don't know the guy's name in the movie.
Which one, the owner?
No, the
the douchebag.
yeah. I forget his name.
I think his name's Andy. Is his name Andy?
I'm not sure.
Andy and Pamela
Okay.
who end up going in the bed.
Yeah,
we'll go
like
Andy.
Andy, he's such a funny character because why does a small independently owned toy store have middle management? I always thought that was funny. He has like his own desk and everything, and he's like bullying
In the back room, the
he's
stock
bullying
room.
Billy like throughout the movie and telling him like, you better get to work
So,
and
yo,
fuck you, and I'm
Billy
gonna tell
will
the
kick
owner.
your
It's
ass.
like, why are you even in a position of power? Like, this is a tiny toy store. I always thought that was kind of funny.
He has little man. He's jealous of Billy's good looks.
Yeah,
he definitely
right.
has like the little man syndrome for sure.
Well, I think he definitely intentionally hooks up with the girl because he sees that they're kind of flirting with each other. So I feel like that was definitely intentional.
He literally tries to rape her.
Yeah.
Literally.
Mm-hmm.
So so that set piece, I mean, we're happy, we're cheering when Andy gets killed. That's a good,
Oh yeah.
First of all, I just another shout out to the actor, Robert Brian Wilson. His facial acting, I mean, it's cheesy, but you can see in his face he's going for it when he gets like disturbed and ready to go. So he sells it for me. But yeah, so he hangs Andy with the string. I mean, I love a good hanging with Christmas lights. I mean, you gotta. I love that. You gotta keep the festivities in mind. And when he does that, he's like declaring that the punishment is good. Punish. So that goes back to Mother Superior. And then unfortunately, I know I do feel bad for Pamela, but she does, because first of all, if I were her, I'd kind of be like, yeah, he did kill him, but he also like saved me from having to go through that. But she kind of also just turns on Billy right away. She's like, you're crazy. Why did you do that? I'm like, girl, he just saved you. But then he just murders her with the box cutter. I do feel bad for her to a point, but she gets sliced up pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I never understood that either. Like, what do you, even if that's how you're feeling, why are you saying that to the guy? You're literally trapped in the corner. Like, why are you calling him crazy and stuff, you know?
Right,
like,
exactly.
He just saved you, but I get it. It was maybe a little excessive, but maybe wait until you're not in danger.
Where are your survival instincts?
Yeah.
But she gets a nice.
I always wondered, like, I guess she was going to die anyway, because we also got set up that saying, like, curse words was a bad thing, and she calls him, like, a bastard,
Oh, yeah.
so I thought maybe that was what, like, kind of sealed the deal for her fate. I'm not sure. I know consensual sex was bad, too, for him, so she probably was going to die anyway, but... she
that's what I'm saying.
She definitely didn't help her cause by kind of freaking out.
She wasn't making it either way, but she didn't try to make it at all.
No.
Like, after that, like, I get it, she just went through something disturbing, but girl, you gotta know how to handle these situations.
I love a good Christmas light kill, And this was a good first kill to kind of set up the killing spree. He kind of holds him up with his bare hands by the Christmas slice, so you get a sense of how strong he is and how capable he is. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and then he also gets Mr. Sims and Mrs. Randall, the head of the store and the manager. I like the whole set piece of him running. I like the toy store set piece a lot because you have you can tell it's low budget, but at least they hit it in a store and there's a Christmas decorations all around. So I thought that was very well done.
Yeah.
And then Sister Margaret just arrives a little too late, and she does get to discover all the carnage before she goes to the police.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much just Billy going through houses and going through town and punishing people, which I fucking love that shit. I think the next one he goes is to Denise and Tommy, which is Linnea Quigley, again, horror legend. She's having sex with Tommy when they're watching the little girl Cindy sleeping. I love when they're like, "Don't come downstairs, we're doing homework." How would she not come downstairs if you're doing homework? But that's obviously, I mean, Linnea Quigley was the iconic, I have sex scene girl of the 80s, so, it was cool that they got her in this movie. And, I do like her death scene a lot when she goes upstairs to try to let in the cat. Cat comes in. First of all, I love how she puts shorts on to go upstairs to get the cat, but she leaves her top off. I fucking die laughing. I'm like, this is just camp. This is camp, and I love it so much. But, yeah, Billy, punishes her, and he puts her. This is one of the iconic kills of the movie. So he puts her through the antlers, and it also is paid homage to in the remake from 2012. So we'll have to cover that. But yeah, she gets a good death scene, and then Tommy comes to the rescue, but he sees Billy, and he also gets it. So I love that sequence a lot with that couple. What about you?
I do too. I think it's a really good sequence. I kind of do wish, again, they leaned more into the holiday and it was themed better. Maybe it was I don't know. They could have done an infinite amount of things, but, the house wasn't really decorated too much and there wasn't really a ton of, Christmas vibes. Maybe they could have been, baking, Christmas cookies at the time or something like that, but they didn't really do much of that. So I did like the set piece, though. I thought it was pretty fun.
Me too.
It was a good... decent, quick stalking scene, nothing crazy, but I like the fight between the boyfriend and
he was so stupid.
Yeah,
Tommy and Billy.
Yeah, just going on the phone right away. That was kind of silly. That was a typical,
oh my god, that was
never split up moment, if you will. So yeah,
I really like after that because the little girl Cindy, she wakes up and Billy asks if she's been naughty or nice.
Yeah, that was that was probably my favorite part.
I've been nice.
Because it's very
intense.
He
gives her the box cutter. Yeah, because I'm like, is he gonna kill her? If she's is he gonna kill her? But he gives her the box cutter that he used to kill whatever Pamela or whatever that chick's name was earlier, Pamela. And then he moves on. And this is when he sees I love how he's just going through town punishing people. That's I wish we got a little more kills, like a little extension of that. But I like when he sees the bullies picking on the two teenage boys with the sleds, and I just love the decapitation scene. It's so fun. When you see the dude just going down the sled headless, I'm like, this is what I want. I want more over-the-top shit like this.
Yeah, no, I like this one a lot. This one might be my favorite sequence. Because, again, you have the sledding, you got the snow. It's more kind of wintry and festive.
That's festive, yeah.
And then a good decapitation is always fun. And then you get the head rolling down the hill.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so damn good. I like when the Captain Richards or whatever, the detective, and Margaret, I wish we knew what he was going to do next, and you just see a light bulb click. She's like, oh, he's going to go to the orphanage. It's just it's so 80s, but I love it. It's so cheesy. Because we didn't mention that the orphanage, his little brother Ricky is still living there. So he left Ricky at the orphanage. So it all goes full circle.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you knew once he started his rampage that Mother Superior was going to be at the top of his naughty list, and he was going to go after her, so... Yeah.
And that poor pastor, the deaf pastor who dresses up as Santa.
Yeah. Oh
he's
God.
an
Talk about, I mean, I know it's a trope with dumb cops, but holy shit, dude.
That was pretty bad.
That takes the cake, man. And then they leave him there. They don't tell him
I know.
Why don't you go home or take the night off? They keep him on shift, by himself. I just love how
after he just murdered,
they call the ambulance. The ambulance arrives, picks up the body, and then they just leave, and it's just him again. It's what wasn't this a crime scene?
This dude did not succeed the first time, by the way. He's still patrolling this orphanage with a bunch of kids.
I don't know if you're a big gamer. I know you're not a huge gamer. I don't know if you've ever played Grand Theft Auto, but it reminds me of the Grand Theft Auto games because when people die in those games, you can like kill random people on the street. Ambulances will show up and just pick the body up and then just leave, and then it's just like a normal street again. It's fun. So I always think of Grand
They
Theft
got that
Auto.
from this movie.
It's so funny.
But I do like the cops, the deputy's death with the axe to the chest. I like.
Yeah, that was pretty
Billy-
intense when he goes into the basement of the shed and stuff.
That was actually pretty suspenseful
was.
because it's not right away.
No.
He walks through and then he's shot at the end. You get a little jump scare, and I like the look of like Billy in the Santa outfit with the axe.
Yes,
It's pretty iconic.
that is yes.
So
That is yep. I wish we got a little more of that.
me too.
Like
The
you said, a
poster
little
for
more of
this
him
movie-
kind of going on a killing spree, and
Yeah,
again, it's
what-
very closed
yeah,
off.
iconic.
Like you get the set piece in the house, and then it goes right from the house to the sledding scene, and there's nothing in between.
Right.
It's just kind of random. Like, how did he find that house? How did he find those kids in the wood? But it's fine. I get it. I mean, it's a short runtime, so I can't boast
Right.
the movie for being under 90 minutes, but also, wanting it to be expanded. So I guess beggars
No, I
can't be
agree.
choosers. But yeah, it is kind of like boom, 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 and it's like, okay, I wanted to see a little bit more of him kind of going on his killing spree a little bit, but we get enough
I would've
kills.
taken a
It's
full-
not even like the
yeah.
kill count. It's really
It's
just
the lead. It's not the lead up, like or like the transition, almost like the stalk. I want to see him
Yes.
going and stalking. I could have done with a 90-minute movie.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
say.
I think so. Yeah, I think maybe.
But it's
90
fine. It's good as
is
is.
good,
But like
yeah.
obviously, I always want. That's actually a pro because it's like it's good, but I want more. So that's
Mhm.
kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm giving the movie credit,
True.
but I do want more. Yep, the poster to this movie was an axe coming up through like the chimney, so it would have been cool if you had like a scene. I mean, they really played up the marketing for the
Yeah.
holiday, but it would have been cool if we had it more in the actual movie.
Yes,
So, what do you think that Mother Superior?
she's
Doesn't-
such a bitch, dude. The kids just witnessed the pastor fucking get gunned down. Right? They go inside
Yeah.
and they're all shaken. And she's like, stop this nonsense. Stop your moping around. We're going to sing
like-
Christmas carols. Like, lady, like, read the room. Like, let the kids be upset, Like, she forces them to sing, like, Jingle Bells and stuff.
I
It's like, oh my
know.
God.
I really wish that Billy,
And I-
because she's in a wheelchair now. I wanted Billy like take her out in a wheelchair and just like
Yeah.
discard her. But she doesn't even die.
I don't even know what their intention was. It was almost like to make her a more complex character, I think, because she does say the lines like, oh, I want to protect the kids and no harm will come to these kids. But to me, it's all like, no harm.
But
Like,
it's
you've
so
been harming
ironic.
these kids every day of their
Exactly.
lives. So
the
like,
irony in that,
yeah.
the irony in that statement just
I know.
goes- the only harm has been from you so far.
Exactly,
But
yeah.
Billy eventually shows up and like they have that interaction. He prepares a killer, but he does get shot in the back.
Yes. Ugh.
It's just such a. I wish he got that kill.
I
I
know.
really do.
It upsets me. I know she gets it in the second movie, but it's not the same. It's a different actress. And
I know.
I wish Billy got that kill. I mean, he deserved
know.
it for what she put him through. Because it seems like the brother didn't really get
Ricky.
the same. Yeah, Ricky didn't really get the same abuse. So I get they wanted to tie everything up in the second one. And, I
Right.
guess they had complaints that she didn't die in the first, and that's why they kind of brought it back.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, Billy definitely deserved that kill of all the people that he
And
that
I
wronged him.
know.
Yeah.
It's so.
What do you
fucked
feel
that he
about the
didn't get it.
fact that the original Santa Claus in the opening, like we never hear from him again, we don't find out his fate? Would you have liked to see that come full circle, or are you fine with him just not being caught or anything?
I was fine with it because it's almost like it was that random scenario that could happen to anyone. So obviously, with that kind of guy, he just wanted to escape. I wouldn't have been mad if it like he came around, was in the area, and like Billy and him had a face off. Like both of them were in
Yeah.
Santa. Like I would have been like the ultimate like cheesy corniness. At the end, they were both in Santa suits, like facing off
Yeah.
each other. But I don't mind it because that's just like a random act of violence, and that happens like every day. So it doesn't bother me too much. But it would have been, on the other hand, it would have been cool to have him like be involved later. But I don't mind it. I actually think it was kind of smart to just focus on like the orphanage abuse of it all.
Yeah, no, I definitely like the orphanage as a final set piece, but I do wish there was it was a little anticlimactic. I mean, we get the officer dying, the police officer outside.
Yeah, the axe, yeah.
But I wish there was like more of like a
And he pretty much
stalk
just gets
chase
shot and
scene
it's done,
stuff
yeah.
like in the orphanage with all the kids running around and him like killing people in the orphanage. That would have been cool. But yeah, he kind of just gets in there and just dies right away. It kind of was a little like, after all that, like,
Yeah.
he kind of just gets it right away,
It's kind of tragic though at the same time.
it
I mean,
is,
it's
yeah.
a cheesy movie, but it's because as he's dying, he's like on the floor telling the children like, "You're gonna be safe now. Santa Claus is gone," and it's kind of sad because in his mind, it's like the Santa from the beginning has been free this whole time. Then he took on that role, and it's like, "Oh, I'm dying now, so the kids can be good." It's just his brain is so fucked up from the
Yeah.
trauma. And it's kind of sad that line. Yeah, it's pretty traumatic if you think of. I mean, if you go past the cheesy '80s slashers, it kind of is a sad story.
No,
Like,
I know, yeah.
very-
And I know we talk about slashers a lot and how we like how it doesn't over-explain villains and their motives.
Yeah.
Especially you like that. But I
Yeah.
think this movie's clever because from when you build your villain from the ground up, like as a little kid
Mhm.
and he's your main character, you are allowed to have that, extra layers and it doesn't feel forced, and it doesn't feel unnecessary. So I think that's why this is actually a pretty smart script because we get
Yeah.
those, so we do feel bad for him at the end. When he tells the kids, like, you're safe now, Santa's gone, he's dead. And I'm like that personification of evil. And,
Right.
so it is kind of like sad at the end because he did not stand a chance in terms of being like a normal person. I mean, they make that pretty
No.
clear. So you do feel sympathy for him.
For sure, and you are right because this is the '80s we're talking about. He's not like a Michael Myers, a Freddy Krueger, or a Jason. He's an actual human being he's warped into a villain because of his life experiences,
Yeah.
rather than just being like a boogeyman or something. So it is kind of unique in that aspect that he is just a person
Yeah.
who just had fucked up shit happen to him, and it led him.
Yeah,
to
I think,
become
and
a
I think for
killer.
the 80s, I mean, they tackled it pretty well, like the mental illness and the
Yeah.
trauma and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, kudos to them for.
Like they were tongue in cheek enough, but they also were like, we got something going on behind
Yeah.
closed doors. There's more up there. And I do like how it does. Obviously, we don't get much of Ricky like after being in the orphanage, but at the end, we obviously are focused on the kid, and we know that's Ricky. And he his scowl face at Mother Superior is like, "Fuck you, bitch."
I wanted
I'm gonna
him to
come get
just
you, but
chop her head off right there. That
I
was
just
great.
love how it ends on like him saying naughty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, obviously,
Like,
he's
here comes the
he's coming
sequel.
for
Yeah.
revenge for his brother's death. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do like how it ends on that. And I love a good like still frame of the 80s, and it ends on a still shot of his face, and then it cuts to black. So, I mean, I'm gonna be a sucker for those shots. But yeah, so I really do like how it's a perfect setup for a sequel, really.
Yeah, no, for
The way
sure.
it ends.
Yeah. Definitely. Was it the same director that tackled the sequel? Or was it a different director?
I think it was a different one.
Yeah.
The sequels, I mean, I'm really a fan of anything really.
They're
the
all right.
sequels are
I
all,
haven't
but
seen. I'm not too familiar with all of them. I've
I've only seen them once.
I've seen the first
like,
three
each
because they
sequel
kind
once.
of. I know the fourth and fifth are kind of standalones. They don't really tie
Yeah.
into the whole Billy of it all and that whole story.
Garbage Day.
Yeah, I know the fifth one is like a sci-fi horror movie. It's got like that
Yeah, I
weird
think it's crazy.
box or whatever in a present. Yeah, but I'm
I'm
not-
gonna rewatch. We'll eventually cover the whole franchise,
Yeah.
but this one I've obviously seen along with the 2012. Have you seen the 2012 reboot? It's really only a reboot in name only. Like it's not really. It's only in name only.
I probably
you
have.
watch it.
I'm not sure.
It's a
though.
different director, by the way, in part 2.
But it's not
Oh.
really. It doesn't really follow the same story, right? It's like a
No,
reboot,
and
like,
literally in name only.
Yeah,
Like they do homage to some kill set pieces, but it's really just in
I
name
might
only.
have because
we'll have to
2012.
co-
I mean,
I'll
that
have
was
it.
at my heyday
We'll
when
watch
I
it.
was really getting into the genre. I don't know. I'd have to go back and see. We'll have to cover.
Yeah,
it
we'll
soon.
definitely have to. We'll have to cover this. I mean, this isn't going to go anywhere because, like I said, next year they're going to have a new movie come
Yeah.
out. So we'll have to. This franchise won't go anywhere for us. We'll have
Maybe
to
we'll
cover.
cover
I
the
definitely
reboot
want to
next
recover
year
the
before-
reboot. Yeah,
before
reboot
the,
before the new one
the
comes
new one.
out.
Okay, and then we'll get to the
And I'm
sequels.
curious to see how hard they're going to go because, like I said, it's from the production company who's doing the Terrifier
Yeah.
movies, and that's an
Yeah,
indication
what if it's gonna be
that
unrated,
it can
like
be.
as an homage to the original?
Well, that's
That'd
what
be
they
cool.
actually. The director, who's the director? I'm actually excited. Oh, it's the guy. I don't know if you saw the new Wrong Turn reboot from a couple
Yes,
years
I
ago.
did. Yeah,
Oh, I really thought that was. I thought that was really good remake because it differentiated itself, but it was all. In my opinion, it was awesome. But the guy who directed that is doing this,
Okay.
and he's actually said in interviews like, I'm happy that we are going with them because we saw that they can market an unrated movie
Yeah.
like Terrifier 3 to mass audiences that can still be seen by a wide audience and do well in theaters. He's really about the theatrical experience, but he said he wants to keep it unrated to go hardcore. So I'm hoping.
Yeah. I mean,
We
that'd
get
be a
an
great
all-timers,
homage
so
to
it's
the
gonna be
original
great.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finally, the uncut version of this gets released wide.
Yeah, right. That was Silent Night, Deadly Night. Hope you guys
Hell yeah.
enjoyed that review. Let's get to our never split up moments.
All right, you won.
I won. Yeah, I'll go first. There's a couple I could choose from. We kind of talked about them throughout the review. I think I'm going to go with the parents, though. The parents, again, just having no survival instincts. Yeah. Stopping for the Santa. And instead of, like, I don't know, the dad just put himself in such a bad spot because he couldn't go forward. He blocked himself in front of the other car. Right. He had to reverse the car. So if you're going to stop, at least stop, like, far away enough to where you can just, like, zoom past. Do something to kind of put yourself in a better position. And yeah, that's a moment where you're just screaming at the TV like, guys, what the fuck, man? Like, come on, dude.
Right.
Yeah, I know it's Santa Claus, but you got kids you got to protect. You know?
I know it's Santa Claus. No, I agree. That's a classic, like, 80s trope. Like, don't pick up the hitchhiker. Yeah. Like, don't do the thing. So that's obviously an
like, we'll call the police as you're speeding by him. That's all. That's all you got to do, you know?
I'll send some help. Keep going. That's a good one. Obviously, that's a classic one. I'm gonna go with the set piece of Linnea Quigley, Denise, and Tommy, like the horny teenagers, like having sex on the pool table. I'm gonna go with Tommy though, because when he goes up and obviously he finds the girlfriend dead, and then Billy comes and attacks him, he actually subdues Billy and he gets him off him, and he goes, but he turns his back on him and he goes to like call the cops. Yeah. Like, but his back is blatantly turned, and I'm like, dude, like, why? You should have just ran out of the house, or you should have just hit him more, because when he turns his back, it's like, obviously Billy's going to come back and get you. And he does, and it leads to his death. So I'm going to put that he's a dummy, and once he, like, knocks him off him, he just goes right to the phone, and it just leads to his death. Like, don't turn your back on the killer. That's, like, horror movie 101. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that one. Every time I'm shouting at the screen, I'm like, dude, don't turn around. Turn around. Yeah. Turn around. And he does. Yeah. So, yeah, he puts his back to the killer. You don't do that in a horror movie. Yeah. So that's going to be mine, Tommy.
Cool. Okay, cool. 2 good moments. So I think that's cool. Awesome. All right, let's get to our scores. I went first, so I'll let you go first with your score, because I went first for the
Yeah, this one's a little tricky because, again, I like this movie a lot. I watch it every year, but it's not like one of my favorite Christmas horror movies, and I do know I take it for what it is. It's an 80s slasher, but I do enjoy it. I watch it every year. But it does have a little things that it could be like the ultimate Christmas horror movie, which makes me a little bit, like, every time I watch it, I'm like, it could be like the ultimate Christmas slasher, and it's not, but it's still an 80s blast. I'm gonna give it, and I mean, talking about it with you though, I was gonna give it lower, but talking about it with you, I'm like, I don't know, it knows what it is,
and it's movie. Just getting to the punch, you know. It's so, yeah, we can't really fault it.
I'll give it a 6.9. It's like it's a really good. Okay. It's a good movie. It's a good festive slasher. I'm gonna give it a 6.9. I was gonna give it like in the lower to mid 6s, but like, no, it knows what it is.
Yeah, it's 6.9. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I think we feel very similarly about this movie, and I think our scores are going to reflect that. I'm going to give it a solid, I'm going to give it a 7.2. I'm going to give it in the 7s, yeah. Because this movie, like you said, it knows what it is. It's not trying to do too much, and the layers that are there, they work, like with Billy and everything. So I personally have nitpicks with it. Like I said, with the set designs and stuff, and maybe, like you said, the editing could have been better. But I can't really fault it for what it's trying to do. I mean, it's a nice, tight, under 90 minutes. You can't go wrong with just throwing this on, you know, when you're, you know, wrapping presents or whatever, you know, getting ready for Christmas. It's a fun time, and it's got some cool one-liners. We didn't even really talk about any of the one-liners.
I know we should. I mean,
total cheese fest with that. So yeah, it's a fun time. 7.2 from me.
It's a movie that, for me, like, you know, if I'm gonna have a Christmas party, it's gonna be horror movies in the background. Like, this is a horror Christmas movie I would have on in the background. We're all chilling and drinking.
Oh, for sure, fun. It's got to be in that rotation. Yeah, it fits right in.
Yeah. So it's like, it's a good movie to watch. It's not like an all-timer like Black Christmas horror movie. But, you know, it's a good one to have fun with, and like when you're hanging with friends, have on. Mm-hmm. So that's what I recommend. I recommend it, guys. Put it in your Christmas horror party rotation.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Okay, so that is it for our special Christmas episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. We will be back next week. I believe we are going to release our next episode on Christmas Eve. It's going to be the original Nosferatu. And that's going to lead up to the, obviously, Robert Eggers' Nosferatu coming in theaters this Christmas. And then after that, we're going to cover our top horror movies of the year. So stick around for the next couple episodes. They're going to be fun. We're going to have, you know, we're going to tackle the birthplace of horror, if you will. And then we're going to tackle new horror for 2024. Yeah. And our favorite horror films, our top
year
10.
In review, pretty much.
Year-end review. We'll get into kind of honorable mentions. I know, Ant, you want to have a little segment of maybe like movies that didn't work for us and maybe we're a little overhyped. Not to be too negative, but I think it's fair to kind of do both ends of the spectrum. Yeah, so that's going to be fun, and that'll take us right through New Year's. So yeah, anything else you wanted to say before we sign off?
Yeah, just guys. I'll also when it gets closer, when this episode comes out, I'll also like do a little post and like share all of the previous Christmas horror movies we've covered. I'll give a little shout out to them if you guys want to go backtrack and check those out. So we did cover a couple biggies so far. So yeah, so have fun with this episode and check out all of our Christmas horror episodes.
Yeah, we always have fun covering our Christmas horror. We love our Christmas horror, so definitely check those out. We covered some big ones, like you said. Original Black Christmas. We covered the first Black Christmas remake. Krampus is another great one. So yeah, definitely check out
P2. Like, yeah, we got to check out all of our Christmas episodes, guys. I love them.
Yeah. But until next time, we will see you later. Thanks again for tuning in to the Never Split Up podcast. Oh, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram and subscribe on YouTube.
Please subscribe.
At Never Split Up Pod. Please. Thank you so much. See you later, guys. Bye.